What's up, guys? This is Eric from GameShampoo.com. I got a bunch of stuff here. Big fat pile of games, none of which are very new. Most of them are actually pretty old. And still going to be unboxing them. So these are all, we got 5 PlayStation 3 exclusive games here. Fan that better. And just got them in the mail today from Amazon. So basically what happened was a couple months ago, or I guess like almost a year ago, I had a bunch of my PS3 stuff stolen out of my house, and since like moved to a different place and stuff like that, but have not been able to replace a lot of the games that were taken. So Sony put out these kind of collections, like got the Infamous collection here that has all the Infamous stuff they've ever released, and the God of War collection, which is 5 God of War games in one package. And a lot of that stuff was put out last year, like October, November. Stuff like this Eco and Shadow of the Colossus was a little bit older. I think that was like 2011 when that came out. But I've never been able to replace a lot of that stuff until now. Finally had a little bit of spare money to go out and rebuy a lot of the stuff that I really missed having. I'm gonna let some of the other stuff go. Thought about getting the Resistance collection, which is Resistance 1, 2, and 3. That is not in here. I ended up thinking like it's like $40. Ended up thinking like it's not really worth it. I've played all this stuff once before. You know, Resistance 1, 2, and 3 are each good games in their own way, especially 3. Thought that was a really great game. I even liked 2 a lot. I think the co-op in that game was awesome. But not really. Like, I'm probably not going to play them for a second time. And most of the stuff in here is stuff that I would love to revisit sometime, if at all possible. Probably over the summer, since we got like The Last of Us in May, and I think Capcom is doing that Revelations re-release in May, and that was a pretty good game, so I'll probably play that on like PS3 or Xbox. But like past that, I don't really see much coming out in like June or July this year, since people are going to be waiting for the fall to put stuff out. So yeah, I'll probably get back to this stuff over the summer sometime. And I figured, like, since a lot of people bought PS3s over like Thanksgiving, Black Friday, holiday weekends and stuff last year, a lot of people might not have this stuff yet. So I was thinking, like, a lot of people might not have gotten this stuff yet. A lot of people picked up a PS3 last year around Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Christmas, that kind of stuff. So if you haven't picked this stuff up yet, I'm going to be going through all 5 of these games. I'll just stick these over here. One at a time, unboxing them, showing you what's inside the package, and talking a little bit about why you should probably play this stuff. So I'm going to start off with the Infamous collection. Front says includes two full games and Infamous Festival of Blood, which is like a DLC thing for Infamous 2, but it's kind of a standalone package. And I liked Infamous 1, but I thought Infamous 2 and Festival of Blood were both awesome. So there's the shrink wrap off the game. So you can see, whoa, Landon, yeah, somewhere along the line became PlayStation Move compatible. I think that was for Festival of Blood and Infamous 2. Because I definitely don't remember the first one getting like retconned or anything like that. So, and then here is the back of the box. And let's see, experience the legend of Cole McGrath. Take the role of an accidental hero who has been granted extraordinary abilities from his unexpected origins to the explosive finale. Evolve your powers to fulfill your destiny. Will you defeat the evil that awaits you, or will you bring about the destruction of the world? The choice is yours. So it includes Infamous, Infamous 2, Infamous Festival of Blood, extra missions, additional character costumes, additional power-ups, and additional weapon styles. freaking out outside. And it's rated teen for blood, drug references, language, sexual themes, use of alcohol, and violence. Okay, so I was wondering primarily how they would split up the games, and it looks like, in this case at least, it looks like they have stuck in a voucher for Festival of Blood, and then split up the collection itself into 2 discs, one with Infamous 1 and one with Infamous 2. So yeah, I was curious about whether they'd be able to fit all these games onto one Blu-ray or what. Because the God of War collection, that has 5 games in it, and it feels really heavy. And I've heard that you actually have to download some of those God of War games, but I'm not totally sure. So let's flip this over, get the voucher out of here. I actually already think I have Festival. I don't remember if I had Festival of Blood on the PS3 downstairs or not, so I had to get a new one. And then they have this sweet background in here of blue lightning and red lightning, representing the fact that you can go either good or evil with your powers. Let's stick the voucher back in here. So yeah, if you have a PS3, if you just got one, or if you've had one for a long time, and you don't have this, you probably should. Cannot recommend Infamous 2 and Festival of Blood highly enough. I think the first game is also pretty good. Probably something you're going to want to play so you can kind of get the second game a little more. Next up, speak of the devil, or Hades, or whatever, is the God of War Saga. This includes 5 full games, like it's screaming at you, and is apparently 3D compatible. I wasn't aware any of these games were 3D compatible. So you're gonna relive the most epic saga in gaming. It's the back of the cover, and yeah, they've got shots from God of War 2 and God of War 3 on the back of here. But like I said, includes 1 and Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta as well. Experience 5 legendary adventures in Kratos' quest for vengeance against the gods who betrayed him. God of War 2, God of War 3, and God of War Collection, which includes God of War, Chains of Olympus, and God of War, Ghost of Sparta. Exclusive bonus content, remastered for HD, DualShock support, full PlayStation Network trophy support, and 3D supported only in God of War Origins Collection, which is the 2 PSP games, which is really weird and interesting that they would choose those games to get the 3D treatment. So yeah, there's a crap ton of video game in this thing, and it's like $40. And obviously it's rated mature for pretty much everything you can be rated mature for. Blood and gore, intense violence, nudity, strong language, strong sexual content. Let's do the quick time event to open this thing. That was intense. Okay, so how many discs are going to be inside of this thing? 2, I think. Does it have 2? Yes. Okay, so this one is not actually split up like game by game, like the last one was Infamous, and then Infamous 2, and then you get a little voucher for Festival of Blood. This one is God of War Saga Disc 1, and then God of War Saga Disc 2. Disc 2 only has God of War 3 on it, and then Disc 1 has the first 2 games on it. And I think that's because God of War 3 actually pretty much maxed out that Blu-ray disc. I love that game. I played through it a couple of times back when I had it before, and it's just like, I mean, it's prettier than the vast majority of games that are coming out now, and it came out in 2010. And I mean, in terms of like scale and scope, it's way bigger than almost anything I've seen since then. And again, it came out a while ago, and still really impressive. And we've got the download voucher for Origins, which again, that includes Ghost of Sparta and Chains of Olympus. Chains of Olympus is a totally fine game. I had a good time playing it on my PSP back in, like, I don't know, 2007? 2007? Does that sound right? 2006, 2007, something around there when it came out, I think. I'm not totally sure how that's gonna translate to like playing it on a DualShock controller on a big screen, remastered in HD or not. But Ghost of Sparta for the PSP also came out in 2010, just like God of War 3, and that game was fantastic. One of my favorite PSP games of all time for sure. So I'm actually really excited to jump back into that game on like a big screen. It was a really nice looking game, and earned some trophies for it nonetheless. And there's, you know, a nice looking background in there, but it's not as cool looking as the infamous background. It's a little more plain. It's just like, hey, this is God of War, you guys. So yeah, be aware, if you buy this, you do have to download the Origins collection onto your PS3. So if you buy the Origins collection, it's just like they stuck that stuff onto a Blu-ray disc here. Save your money, I guess. Didn't want to make a 3-disc thing, so stuck the download onto a voucher. So be sure you have hard drive room for that stuff. It's probably fairly large. Actually, see if I can look in here and see how big exactly it'll be. See if they say. Open the account from PlayStation Network, cross media bar, redeem codes, blah blah blah. Yeah, they don't say how big it's gonna be, but I assume it'll be fairly large. Shouldn't be an issue for people who have one of the new consoles with like 250, 500, whatever gigabyte hard drives on them. So Killzone Trilogy up next. Another kind of synonymous with PlayStation brand ever since they tried to build this thing as like a Halo killer back on the PS2, and that totally didn't work. This comes with all 3 of the games, and I didn't think the first game looked that great to begin with when it came out on the PS2. You know, I never actually played it myself, so I can't really say, but I have seen footage of this game, the first game, running for about half an hour or so, and it looks like total crap. Like, it does not look like a fun game to play. Killzone 2 and 3, though, those games are fantastic. I think Killzone 2 has a really good sense of weight to it, and kind of like a great sense of heft when you're moving and firing a gun. Killzone 3 has a good sense of weight to it, but they kind of streamlined and made it a little more snappy, which results in it feeling a little bit less distinctive than the second one, but also a little bit more accessible maybe. So this is 3 games in one. Tackle the legendary might of the Helghast army in 3 blockbuster adventures. Experience the harsh reality of war in the critically acclaimed Killzone Trilogy. Set in an era of interplanetary colonization, the ISA fight for survival against the relentless onslaught of the Helghast army includes Killzone remastered in HD with trophy support, Killzone 2, Killzone 3, 3D and Move compatible, and a voucher which includes all Killzone 2 and 3 multiplayer map packs. And Game Informer says, best looking visuals to arrive on the PS3. Which I might argue with, but that is the back of the box. All 3 games, again rated M for mature. Requires a good bit of hard drive space. You need 3.24 gigabytes for all this stuff. And the Move controller, I believe, is only compatible with the 3rd game. So, let's tear this open. Killzone 2, actually, you know, it's been a while since that game came out, but I remember it being one of my favorite PS3 games when I think about it. I thought the multiplayer was really great. They had that guerrilla mode where it's like 5 modes in one, and it kind of dynamically shifts between each mode. And that came back in 3, but I like the feel of the guns a little bit better in 2. So again, there's the cover, and cracking it open. And as is kind of becoming a trend, we've got 2 discs in here, and then a little DLC voucher for the maps. which I think were all free for Killzone 3 at some point. I think that entire like multiplayer suite was free at some point for Killzone 3. Got some pretty nice looking artwork on the back of this one. I like this reversible cover a lot. The first disc is Killzone and Killzone 2, which I find interesting, just because Killzone 2 is such a nice looking game. Even when you go back and look at it, it's like, wow, that's really great looking for the time. And it was a really fully featured game. Had like a big multiplayer suite. And so I find it interesting that, Killzone 1 must be a pretty small game that they can fit all that stuff onto the disc, right? And then Killzone 3 is the second game in here. Let's get a look at that artwork. Yeah, pretty cool looking. Actually, pretty excited to play. Let me get this cover back. It's starting to slip out. Actually, pretty excited to play Killzone 2 again and see kind of like, does it hold up to how good I remember it being, because I remember it being pretty cool at the time. Killzone 3 I remember being a totally good game, very well designed, very much beautiful looking game, very well designed, controlled, freaking great, but just didn't have that kind of intangible quality to it that makes it really memorable. It was kind of a little too similar to Killzone 2 in a couple of ways, and that was kind of a bummer. But it's still, like, it's a great game. I think that collection ran me $35, and I mean, you get two of the best shooters on the PS3 for $35. Can't go wrong, right? And then Killzone 1, if you want to go back and look at that and be like, man, video games, like, thank God they're not like that anymore. Next up is Mag. This is the only game that I repurchased that is not just a collection of other games. This is just Mag. It's like $20 right now. You can probably find it for cheaper if you look really hard, but I just went on Amazon and I wanted to grab a new copy so I could do this. And honestly, I don't know if this is even worth buying anymore, but this is a game that I have a lot of really good memories with playing on the PS3 when it came out in 2010. It came out in January 2010. And I think it's a really underrated game. I think it's a really great game. It's a multiplayer-only shooter for up to 256 players in a game. So you get something like Call of Duty or like Killzone over there, it's like 16 players in a game. This has 256 people in each game. That alone is just a crazy technical achievement. I can't even begin to think about how they managed to make all this run so smoothly. And I remember when I got this game, I was running it on a terrible internet connection, and it just ran like a dream even on that. So I have no idea like what kind of wizards they got to program this game, but it's ridiculously smooth online. So just going to read off the back of the box here. Mag is a massive action first-person shooter in an ever-changing global war. Climb the ranks and gain the experience needed to own the battlefield. Multiplayer online only. 256 player online battles managed by an intuitive command and control system. Conquer objectives by working together. Personalize your career as a commando, sniper, field support, and more. Earn the respect of your peers and become a squad leader, platoon leader, or officer in charge. That's right, you could eventually level up to the point where you're commanding other people around the battlefield. Like the old Battlefield games used to do. Achieve in-game performance rewards for you and your entire military corporation. Widen your arsenal and enhance your stats. So basically when you play Mag, you choose one of 3 factions, and these factions are all at war for these different territories, and depending on which mode you choose, you'll get different maps, and when you beat the other teams a whole bunch on the maps, this meter will start to go up, and it'll be like, you have control of this area. And once you control the entire map for your team will get a little bonus for a little while. I think it was like an experience point bonus, and then everything will reset and you guys will fight over it all again. And like I said, I think this game was pretty underrated. I remember having a fantastic time both with my friends, with some people I worked with, squatting up and really getting kind of tactical into it, and then having a lot of fun by myself, just kind of running around with a medic gun and I think I had a submachine gun, and just like destroying guys and healing my team, helping out in that way. Not sure if this game will be worth it or not still, because it is multiplayer only. I don't necessarily know that it attracted a huge audience. At the time it released, it had a pretty good sized player base. You never had trouble finding a full game of 256 people, but it's been it's like 3 years now, really. So whether or not people are playing this online still, I kind of doubt it. I just wanted to have it for my personal collection. I would like to jump back in and see if there's still people online. Of course, don't have my old saves, so that's kind of a bummer. I'd have to start from the beginning. I think the way that they handle character customization in this game is fantastic. It's a little bit like how they handled it in the old Battlefield games, where you level up and then you get a point and you can just use that point on whatever you want. So you can build your soldier however you want, and it's really flexible. It's really fun. It's great in a team. I guess what I'm trying to say is get 256 people together and go play MAG online so I can play this game again, because it's pretty awesome. Now I'm going to rip it open. I don't expect there to be any kind of like special DLC vouchers or like reversible covers in this, because this is not a re-released collection of anything. This is just like this game that they made 3 years ago. I bought again because I thought it was cool and probably nobody's playing. Let's crack it open. And if you have just purchased a PS3, and if there are people playing this game online still, it's definitely worth it. It's got a manual in here. It's like welcoming you to the PlayStation Network on the back, and it's actually a full color manual, I believe. Yeah, nice. So, tells you the controls and tells you how to read the HUD and simple stuff like that. And then it says, hey, go buy Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. Joke's on you. I already did that. Bought that game 3 times. And there's the disc inside. So that's MAG. Not necessarily a must buy, because people are probably not playing it that much online anymore, but almost fell over. Stay. Okay, thank you. But really good game nonetheless. One that I think should have gotten a little more attention when it came out. Finally, Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. These are both HD remasterings of PS2 games with exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more. So they've been remastered in high definition. Ico was one of those PS2 games that came out right after the system launched. A couple months after the system launched, I want to say, but I'm not sure if that's actually accurate, because I was pretty young and not really paying attention to that stuff back then. But widely heralded as a classic, and something that I've never personally had the chance to play outside of this collection. And then there's also Shadow of the Colossus, which is just a fantastic game from the same studio, also on the PS2. Really benefits from the HD remastering. The frame rate was a little choppy on the PS2 version, and all that is fixed on the PS3 re-release, and you get slightly sharper graphics from the HD remastering, and you get all this bonus behind the scenes cross-media bar themes, all that kind of good stuff. So let's see if I can break into this one. This will be our last old PS3 game of the day, and then you can go about your life educated as to what you should buy. Have you just picked up a PS3? I think this stuff is, this stuff is pretty much the essential stuff on the system, aside from the Uncharted games. Definitely get Uncharted and Uncharted 2. Uncharted 3 is fine also, but it's just not as good as 2. This thing is really resilient. Okay, there we go. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna buy any games at all for PS3, I would say Uncharted and Uncharted 2 first, and then maybe dig into the God of War Saga or Infamous. And Eco is a pretty good choice too. These are very thoughtful, very intelligent and quiet games. And that's not really something you see a lot of, and they could both fit on one disc. So the cool thing about this collection is if you just pop out the disc really quickly, it has a reversible cover that has the Japanese artwork for these games on it, which was way better than the American artwork that they ended up going with, and obviously way better than that. So let's flip that around and see what that looks like. So yeah, and then Eco will be on the front, and then when you flip it over, it's Shadow of the Colossus. So I'm just gonna spin it around because I'm kind of OCD about like symmetry when I line up all my games. Like when I line up old PS3 games next to new ones and they have the different bar thing, that's really disturbing to me. But the reversible cover is clearly vastly superior to the actual cover of this game. Get in there. Okay, so that is everything that I bought for the PS3 to kind of restore glory to my collection. And if you just picked one up over the holidays, I strongly suggest you go out and check all those games out when you have the money or when you have the time, because there's so much cool stuff about to be coming out. Speaking of which, if you like watching videos of people taking junk out of boxes and then talking about it for a while, then man, have we got some shit for you. It's going to blow your mind. February is going to be a pretty big month in terms of video game releases. So next week we're going to unbox Dead Space 3, Fire Emblem Awakening, and Sly Cooper Honor Among Thieves, or whatever it's called. Sly Cooper Thieves in Time, that's what it's called. I was still in Uncharted mode. So yeah, we're unboxing Dead Space 3, Fire Emblem, and Sly Cooper next week. There's going to be an Aliens Colonial Marines special edition unboxing with the big statue and all that cool stuff inside of it later in the month. And it's going to be a ton of other unboxings. There's a ridiculous number of games coming out in February and in March as well. So we're going to be trying to cover as many of those as humanly possible. So look out for that, and thanks for watching.